Alright, we're live. Welcome to the MailleWerX Chainmail Livestream. My name's Sean, I run MailleWerX.com, and my glasses are covered in crap. Okay, it's one of the fun things about wearing glasses is that no matter what you do, you're always going to get shit on them. Like, not literal shit, but just random stuff that you don't know how it got there. And with all the lighting I have in here now, it's much more apparent how blocked my vision is. Hell of an intro. Thank you. How's it going, Peg? How you doing? All right. Tonight, I'm going to try and remember to do this neat trick. So why don't we do that first? Why don't we start with these? Let me clean up my mess here. I have a knife. I don't want a knife, I want scissors. And maybe even a punch. Duck wings are kicking your ass? You forgot how to build them? Oh no. Don't feel bad, I forget a lot of stuff. Alright. Oh, for those of you watching at home, these are my chainmail vest extenders, and I can't stand them because they always end up sloppy. Like, where's the camera? Like that. You know, they always hang wrong, and it's annoying. So, for starters, we're gonna take this part off. And we're gonna make this leather piece into a workable piece. So that we don't need this rectangular ring here. Alright. So Peg, do you not have a duck laying around that you can look at and go like, oh yeah, duh, that was simple? Have you sold all your ducks? Because, I don't know, maybe you could pull up a picture and look at it. See if your memory comes back to you. How was everyone's day today? I've got 2 days left of work. I'm kind of excited because starting Monday I get to go full bore into figuring out how to make money for myself. You have a prototype, he's in play. The tiny rings for the second course of rings are a bitch to put in. Fun. So I was thinking about last night's question a little bit more, and one of the things, you know, can wind and solar stop wars, right? It's like, is there going to be a battery prototype, you know, that's whose elements are made whose elements are plentiful enough for just to replace the existing system we have right now, as far as the number of cars go and everything. And then I got to thinking about it. And I thought, you know, my power went out last summer for 3 days, and there were no generators available in town that were within my budget. I had to drive about an hour away. I probably could have found one closer, but I was just like, I need to get into some air conditioning, so I got in my truck and I just drove. And about an hour away, I found a Lowe's, and I was like, okay, I did go looking in some equipment yards. We have a lot of farms around here, and so there is a lot of used farm equipment for sale and places that sell them. So I had to go and kind of rummage through there, but no luck. Like, generators and deep freezers are in short supply. You gotta buy them whenever you can find them, you know. Sometimes you can find them at what do they call them? Okay, they're garage sales, but they call them rummage sales up here. I'd never heard the term rummage sale, but people come and they rummage through all your stuff. And I worked for a family that their hobby was to find and collect stuff for their like monthly rummage sale. They put a lot of time and effort into making stuff, you know, getting it cleaned up and looking nice, and a lot of the kids stuff would sell pretty well just because if it was clean and functional, you know, you could hand it off to the next kid without much fuss. So what the hell was the point of that? Oh, sometimes you can find a deep freeze at a garage sale. But deep freezes and generators, you pretty much have to buy new. Go farther up north and garage sales are called thrift sales. That's funny. So I was out looking for a used generator. I didn't find one. I ended up in Lowe's and got back and was able to get some power to the fridge, which was at that point completely a useless point. So all the food had pretty much thawed and gone bad. I didn't know that at the time, but once power came back on, we went through all the food and was like, yeah, this is no good. Because I had faith in the system, right? We've had power outages before, and it was 2-3 hours. This was like 2.5 days. And it was the most humid, hottest part of the summer last year. What happened to my music? What is going on here? Is there like a button I hit where it doesn't automatically go to the next song? Weird. So, zoom y'all in a little bit. So while I was contemplating last night's question, and then remembering the trouble I had last summer with power, I realized that I really want a decentralized power grid. Okay. Cool, that came right off. Surprised the chrome on that didn't flake off. This must be high quality stuff here. Okay. What? Hang on just a second. Score, I found some. Right where I needed them to be. Excuse me. So, what I've decided is that whether or not you think wind and solar is a reliable source of power, or whether you think it's good for the environment or not, right? Like, that's all kind of immaterial when the power goes out, right? Like, I want to have electricity. I don't really care about the source. If what do you call those things? If a wind farm is providing my power, I don't care. Okay? Presumably the amount of waste from a windmill farm is going to be theoretically, okay, my understanding is going to be less than a coal power plant. Okay? I could be wrong. I don't know the numbers, but it doesn't make sense that it would be the same amount of pollution output. So that's great. I'm glad it's good for the environment. I don't particularly care. What I want is to have a reliable system in place so that my power doesn't go out. And if that takes, building some windmill farms or putting up some solar panels, I'm okay with it. Right? So, and I would love to have, solar panels on all my neighbors' roofs. Hey Barb, how you doing? That feed back into the power grid. Because I want the grid to have power so that I have power. Right? And I think that that's probably the most convincing I need at this point to become a wind and solar supporter or advocate, or I don't know. Now, back to this project here. So, we've got these two pieces. We've got to make sure that these buttons are the right way. This button's down, this button's up. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make... I can either take the scissors and make two cuts here and then loop some rings through like so. Right? And this is not an exact science. Okay? Or I can punch a little bit off of, right? Can y'all see that? See that punch? Okay, I can take this and punch a little hole. That would make a little space for the ring. It might make it a little nicer looking. But it would remove some of the material I have for this to hold. So, what does this measure? I don't have my measuring tool. It's about 1 inch wide, if judging by the squares. Excuse me. So I think I'm going to take 2 rings, 6 rings on each flap, right? just kind of try and make it as even as possible. No. This, setting it up like this kind of make it looks like I need to make some space in here with the punch. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Move this all aside. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna hit the mute button. I think that was not the mute button. Yeah. Okay, that wasn't too bad. As you can see, I have these little areas with which to place some of these rings. Keyring might be a better option for this, just so it doesn't tear on the leather. You want that to be pretty smooth. Barb had to set down some stubborn rings. Not much luck with ducklings, huh? What's such a bitch about those rings? Okay. Alright, this side down, this side up. Yeah, come back here. Love me. All right. Oh, Jesus. Who's running this shit show? Scratching up the damn rings. They're 20 gauge, 764 is tiny. Ooh, and they have to bind the two sets of wings together. I don't envy you. I'm working with rings I can see. Some of these rings are less than desirable. I think that's why they're in this box. Like they were just too sharp or too barbed, or no offense, Barb. And that is just awful. We thought you were running the shit show? Yeah, nope. If I had a file, that would be really nice right now. None of these rings want to play. I do have a file. It's upstairs. And that is why these rings are in this box. They've been separated from all the other rings so they don't get used. No offense taken. Good, good, good. There's like some teeth on this. Maybe I can grind it down. That's not productive. Maybe it is. Hang on. Now these teeth are like nothing. That. Crap. Just need a bunch more rings that'll work. I don't want the barbs on them because this leather's really soft, so it'll just tear through the leather. That one's okay. Okay, and then last one. And you guys can tell me what you think. Okay. See, now this, right? How does that look to all of you? You're the only barb we need. That is true. Okay. So, can you see it well enough? Right? Looks great. You're not just telling me that, are you? Like, I don't really care for how the 1/4-inch rings overlap each other. But like who else besides someone who makes chainmail is really going to notice? For starters, right? But then it's also not that big of a deal. You know, it hangs nicely. Alright, and I think that's a pretty damn good solution for these. Oh. It's an improvement to the D-ring. It shouldn't twist all over itself. Yeah, that's my concern, right? Like, it's not gonna lay like shit. So now I got 4 more of these to do, but I won't do that right now. Can you make it 3 long helm strip to set them better? You could, right? Like, you could definitely, even just to, I don't know what, throw some rings in there, you could. And I was thinking too, right, like you could add connections with the Byzantine to hold them together and then make it more like a bar, and that would gotta have a good lay. Fuck yeah. Excuse me. Alright, where was that? So I'm glad I used the punch for these slits. Glad I used the punch for those. It's always good to punch a slit. Because I think that was better than the scissors option. Alright. Oh, these go in here. Right? Because the scissors, there's more material left over, but like the leather's got a space to rip from. Does that make sense? Like a curve that the punch put in isn't as likely to tear. So I don't know. Time will tell what the right decision was. But I am happy with this. It, you know, sitting on my vest, it's gonna hang like it's supposed to. And I'll get the other ones done later. Okay. In the meantime. Let's upside down. I see we're back into the bondage discussion again. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't have anything to do with that discussion. That was all those damn dirty Twitch followers that, with the dirty minds. Okay, so let me show you what I've got so far. Oh, probably turn it around so you can see it. I kept going with the outlining the letters in black, and look at how good it's looking. I got all the way to the G. It started on the A. The next A. Right? Doesn't that look much better? It's a huge improvement. I'm quite happy with the way it's coming along, and I'm gonna run out of black rings here pretty soon, but I think I can get all this word done. Alright. Already did all those. So my kid's getting to that phase where he's starting to tell jokes. And it's really funny because the black outline makes it pop good. I'm glad, like, I'm thrilled with how much of an improvement it is. She's starting to tell jokes, and some of them are funny. And I'm gonna have to remember what this joke was, because he had me rolling in the way into school this morning to drop him off. He's getting pretty good. Like at, you know, 'cause some kids are like, you know, knock knock, who's there? Unicorn. Unicorn who? Unicorn you? Yeah, he. You know. And you're like, you laugh because it's a kid and you don't want to hurt their feelings, but deep down inside you're like, that joke sucked. So he was, you know, he was there for a long time. But he's almost 7.5. Well, he's 7.5 now. He's starting to tell some really good jokes. He got me this morning. He got me the other day, too. I was downstairs working on one of the computers, and he snuck down the stairs. And usually I can hear him coming from a mile away. No, he snuck up and, like, poked me in the sides, and I jumped through the freaking basement ceiling. He thinks it's funny to throw his sock in your face, his dirty sock that he's been wearing all day. He just thought that was the funniest thing ever. I'm trying to remember this joke for you guys. I'm sorry. I have a terrible memory. It's not from the army or anything. I don't think. Oh, wait. So... back to deep freezers and thrift sales and garage sales and rummage sales and whatnot. What I was saying about that, like I've decided to roll with wind and solar as my go-to for a power source. That's my plan. Because I think that you know, like with anything, you successfully rebuilt a 2-tier duck wing. You're gonna celebrate by taking a shower. Congratulations. I'm not gonna ask how long it's been since you've taken a shower, but enjoy yourself. Get clean. The hell was I saying? I don't remember. So bad my short-term memory is. From jokes to ducks. Oh, so... Nope, that wasn't it. Never mind. Something about power and where I get it from doesn't matter to me. Oh, man. Anyway. That thought is gone. Proud of Peg for completing her 2-tier duck wing. I don't know what that is, but it's probably pretty cool because, well, Peg made it. She makes awesome stuff, so. I did get to tell my patients goodbye today. Most of the ones I saw today I won't be seeing again. I have a couple more visits on tomorrow and Friday, but that's gonna be it for me. And then Monday morning, as soon as I get back home from dropping my kid off, I've got to get started on not just the MailleWerX website, right? 2 other very large projects. So, like, I need to finish the MailleWerX app and start trying to figure out okay, so from the research I've done so far, okay, by about 2030, all the cars on the road, I'm sorry, all the new cars sold will be electric vehicles. Most people will have like a charging station inside their home, but there's no reason that a charging station out on the road wouldn't be a successful venture. And so that is my goal. To set up a 6 to 8 station, like quick charging station for electric vehicles. And I figure I have to have it completed, you know, in the next 2 years. That's my timeline. I'd like to have 4 of them by the time I'm done. There are many other companies that already do this, but there are not many charging stations, period, right? Like, figure if you take the number of gas stations in a given area and cut it in half, right? That's probably all you'll need to support, you know, electric vehicles, if that many. There are tons of gas stations. There are very few charging stations. So that's my goal. Is to set more of those up. How am I going to go about doing that? I have no idea. Uh-oh. Did I miss a few of these rings over here on the G? I sure did. Oh, man. So, anyway, that is what I'm going to look more into. That is one of my 2 projects. Get MailleWerX up and running, build the app for it, finish the app for it, rather. Get, find a way to get, a charging station set up. And, you know, have it be like a nice little gas station with stuff for sale inside and whatnot. More themed towards people that drive electric cars. And then give them a nice waiting area so they can hang out while their cars charge. So, we'll see. I know there's a bunch of manufacturers that are launching new EVs, a bunch of new manufacturers of EVs that aren't like your traditional car manufacturers. Like Ford's making a electric F-150. But there's a bunch of other new car manufacturers that you've never heard of. They're launching their own line of electric vehicle. And one thing that, I don't know if you know this, but like auto dealerships, like if you go to the Ford dealership, they don't make their money off selling you a car. Not much, if any. Right? They make their money in the service department. Okay, so what's going to happen to dealerships when all these electric cars, some of which aren't sold through dealerships like Tesla, what is going to happen when they don't have new vehicles to service? Because everyone's bringing in their electric vehicle to have their motors worked on, because there isn't one. So I think your dealerships are going away. You're gonna order a car on the internet, and you can do that now. Carvana, stuff like that. I think you have to order a Tesla online. Did I not just pull out? Okay, that was weird. So I think what's going to happen is, like, you know, mechanics are going to have a charging station installed, right? You'll have a couple of charging stations in your area. Driving will be a thing of the past because everybody will have some kind of autopilot in the future. Drunk driving will go away, right? You just push a button on your menu, you go home. I'm assuming you can also do autopilot with a gas vehicle. I don't think that's specific to electric vehicles, but I don't know of any autopilot outside of Tesla that anyone's worked on for retail purchase. I think if we can get through the next couple of years relatively unscathed, right? I don't think the world's going to be unscathed. I think a lot of shit's going to go down in the next 2 to 4 years. Like what I was talking yesterday, when the Federal Reserve raises rates and then they don't raise them fast enough to stop inflation, instead they cause a recession. I think that's the far more likely scenario. So if we can get through that, like, it's not going to be the end of the world. You know, just watch your investments very closely if you have any. And then after that, we should get things straightened out. We might have a new world reserve currency. The dollar might be toppled, depending on how bad it gets. But like I mentioned, the dollar's pegged to the price of oil, and oil is, the dollar's pegged to the price of oil, and all the other currencies are pegged to the price of the dollar, so. You know, if the dollar goes down, it's going to be, it'll be a global economic ordeal. But I still think that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's just going to suck. You know, and it can be, like, some people, you know, because recession's a huge deal, right? Like, market crashes cause death. You know, there's a cost of life associated with it. So, depending on what those in positions of power, like Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Depending on what he and the rest of the government do, it's going to be I think it's going to be a bumpy ride for the next little bit. But at the end of the day, at the end of 2 years, that's my timeline, right? I don't have that much cash on hand to last me 2 years. That might change in order for me to get this service station up. But that's my timeline. I figure by the time 2 years is up, we're gonna have brighter things coming our way, and having an EV service station is gonna be a good thing. So we'll see what happens. Like I can't. I would love to say, I think, everything's hunky dory, right? Simply because during the last 5 administrations, and especially during the Trump administration, the money printers were just off the charts printing money. Quantitative easing, they called it. And there are economic consequences for printing that much money, period. In any economy, it doesn't matter what you do to combat it. You're going to see inflation, and it's going to take, printing that much money is going to take a toll, right? So I don't think it'll last too long. I think we'll be okay in the long run. Just a matter of getting through it all, which is the sucky part. Really easy to tell, yeah, okay, I need to remove the gold rings here. Sometimes this green and this black really messes with my eyes when I'm looking at it. I'm like, do I pull that one or no? Then my eyes wig out and Oh, okay. All right. So I remembered. So this morning on the way into school, my son from the sorry, not trying to flip you off here. My son from the back seat says, "Hey, Daddy, can I tell you a joke about a vacuum?" I go, "Yeah, sure, kiddo." And he goes, "It kind of sucks." That is what I've been struggling to remember for the last 50 minutes. Holy crap, 50 minutes. I guess that motorcycle vest extender did take a lot of time. That was a classic joke this morning. I laughed my ass off. Right? Like, it's a pretty good joke. You know? You can tell. Oh, I should probably like have the camera on my hands and show you what I'm doing. So, yeah, I remember the last recession in 2008 when the housing market crashed, right? A lot of people suffered from that, but I didn't have anything invested at the time. Well, no, I did. I had my, what was it called at that time? Thrift savings plan, which is it's like a government IRA for people in the military, right? And I lost half my investment during that. And 7 years later, after it never recovered, I gave up trying to wait on it, and I pulled it out and paid the taxes on it, and was like, oh, I'll never invest again, you know, which was dumb because I did. And I should have sooner, but whatever. But, you know, that was a period of economic turmoil that everyone went through, and the world didn't end, you know. Like, does it suck to go through it? Yeah. Is it, you know, can people have catastrophic consequences from it? Absolutely. But you know, are we going to become Zimbabwe and have massive levels of hyperinflation? Maybe, but I don't think so. No, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think that poor economic policies got us into it, and you can't. We're not going to get better by taking things that made us sick, right? So hopefully, someone will learn something from the next recession, because they didn't learn anything from the one in 2008. Like, if you've ever watched the movie The Big Short, that it's a pretty good explanation of what happened in the housing market. It's a great movie. It's not 100%. There's a book by Tom Woods about it. And he goes in, he does a more thorough job of anyone else that I read about that time in 2008. So if I could remember the name of the book, I would tell you. But the gist of it is that, you know, they were handing out subprime loans and then selling groups of the subprime loans. And then nobody could actually pay on those mortgages, so everything went tits up. And oh, by the way, we still have a category of mortgages that are subprime mortgages, and they still engage in subprime lending. I think they call it something else now. But it's the same thing, you know. People that are not actually able to afford a mortgage they're getting loans, and those loans are packaged together and subprime lending, just like they did in 2008. That's how you know that they didn't learn anything from that economic disaster, right? Oh, you're still doing it. No one ever stopped this? Okay. No one went to jail for it either? Okay. So I'm not going to hold my breath in the hopes that, you know, if there is another recession coming in the near future, you know, I don't think people will learn the lesson provided by the situation, but I do think that, you know, we will survive. I don't think it's going to be a world-ending catastrophe or anything. So, a lot of, you know, okay. And I guess the big reason why I mentioned that is because right, despite all of the economic turmoil I think is coming, I do also believe that now is the time to start setting up a charging station and to get that ball rolling. You know, sooner rather than later. That way when there's an economic recovery and people start, when electric vehicles start being more of the cars on the road, right? Like they got a charging station right there ready to go. That's my plan. So my concern is that, yeah, it's probably a bad time because of pending economic recession. But if I can get through it, then at the end of it, I will hopefully come out on top. I think that makes sense to do. There is, like, I know there's VA small business loans. I've been told it's not very much. I haven't looked into it. And I think I mentioned this the other night. I'm going to start digging into that and see how much capital I can come up with. All right, Barb, have a good night. So I've got to get that started. Oh, and so MailleWerX website, MailleWerX app, and then charging station, and then moving to interviews on this channel, right? All things I want to work on. So come Monday, that's my goal. all good goals. And all because, I don't know, maybe I should thank the government for mandating this nonsense. I wouldn't have ever, like, stepped up to do this on my own otherwise, you know? I mean, I try, but I've never had the time to dedicate to my website that I am going to have. So I'm excited. It's gonna be a good time. I hope. I could crash and burn, fail miserably, we'll see. You know, I don't know, I don't think most people take risks the way I do. I try not to jump in the fire with both feet. But sometimes I fail at doing that, and I have definitely done that before. Just impulsively gone and done something that I shouldn't have necessarily. And I've survived all of those, so maybe I'm just brazen at this point. I'm like, yeah, no, I can totally do this. This is a totally reasonable thing for me to go and do, right? But I figure I don't have any room for that kind of self-doubt if it's gonna work. Right, so I will crush the voice inside my head that says, you know, do the responsible thing and go find a job. Because that hasn't really worked out for me. I've had lots of jobs. And the one thing I have consistently done is always managed to, you know, work on my own projects effectively, right? Not at my job, but despite the sheer number of projects I have laying around, I do have a lot of completed projects. So if I can do stuff for myself and if my goals are, you know, something that I focus on, I can make it profitable. That's my goal. I think working for myself is going to be... it's going to be better for me than working for anybody else. Right? Like this last job that I'm separating from... I don't necessarily want to leave, but since, you know, I can't work there anymore, there you go. What do you guys think of that? Those letters are popping. Anyway, since I can't work there anymore, you know, I gotta go find something else to do. I think that working for myself will work out a lot better than it has working for other people. Because, you know, If I'm working for myself, can I fire myself? I'm sure I could. Alright, an N, an S, and an apostrophe to go. That's not too bad. There's all the... Don't those look nice? Vinegar. Yeah, there we go. Alright. We're getting somewhere. May not be where I intended to go, but we're getting there. It's going. Link. Of the changes that I've made so far, I'm pretty happy with all of them. And maybe I wasn't meant to finish this project, you know, so long ago. Maybe I did need to wait until I was a little older, more mature, had a little bit more skill. Right? Oh, I should take a picture of this. Alright, I'm going to lay this out and take a picture. In the meantime, it is 10 o'clock. The end of the stream time frame isn't going to change. It's going to be 10:30, right, depending on the day. Maybe if I get a chance to stream in a weekend evening or something, it'll go later. But I do have to get up at 6 in order to get my kid up and fed and off to school and everything. So, I, you know, got to keep a strict bed time. I will be in bed by 11 and up at 6. Got to stop streaming around 10:15-ish. So, that's not going to change. But the format, the people we have on, you know, projects, hopefully the projects will always change. And we'll always have new and exciting stuff to do. I know there's a bunch of people that make kits out there. I do want to buy some of those and try to do them on stream. I should probably contact those people. But that's going to take... money to purchase the kits, and that I'm scarce on at the moment, so I'll write that down and we'll work on that later. Alright, you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for hanging out. I do appreciate you being here. Okay, be sure to check out MailleWerX.com for all your chainmail themed apparel and accessory needs, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. Alright, you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.